Brought to you by Fallen Dominion Studios. Check out their website at fallendominionstudios.com. Hey everybody, thank you so much for coming back to the Dice Odyssey Studios. I'm Kas.
And I'm Bryan.
And today we're going to be talking about a hotly anticipated expansion to one of, I think, our favorite games. I think you could say that now, yeah. Right? One of our all-time favorite games, Scythe, the Rise of Fenris. Right now we're going to be doing a spoiler-free video on this, so we really can't show you a whole lot about what's going on. We're just going to get...
So what are your final thoughts on that?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get to the spoiler video. Yeah. So pretty much all we're going to do is just kind of give our base impressions on what we thought of it without hitting hardcore spoilers or anything like that. But understandably, this is going to be a modular expansion. It's not Legacy. You're not ripping cards up, although there are times you want to rip people up in this game. It's completely resettable, which most Legacy is not. So.
But you already know the components and everything coming out, and you know what's going to be
so there. So you are spoiled, right? Yeah. There are multiple paths of victory in this game. There's a few divergent paths, not that many, ultimately. But basically... I'm going to show you just a few of the boxes as we go, but we just can't show you what's in those boxes and things like that. But I'll show you that here in a moment. But Bryan, what were your overall impressions? First off, what did you think about Scythe? I know we talked about this in top 10 2018.
So Scythe, when you first got it, first told me about it, I was like, oh, awesome! It sounds like right up my alley. Different Earth type situation. And I was like, this is going to be awesome. Get into it. Wasn't quite feeling it, man. It was just kind of like there was a missing element. It was like the theme wasn't there as heavily prevalent. I'm building my engines and I'm got these mechs that I'm moving around that really don't do a lot for me. They do, but they don't. I mean, it's not like going to...
You talking about thematic?
Thematically, it just didn't really tie me in thematically.
Okay.
With the whole ordeal, it seemed just like another resource management
engine
builder game. It just really didn't go any further than that for me.
Okay.
And that's where I was at it.
Okay. So when it comes to the Rise of Fenris,
curious
about that.
Just kind of like. Just opens up a whole new category. It's like playing a whole new game now.
Yeah.
It's just because you get in depth into a story that makes you feel what you're doing is prevalent to the game.
Yeah.
And with the regular basic Scythe game, you don't have that feeling.
Yeah.
To me, at least.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. The regular Scythe game, each faction did have kind of their own backstory, but the overall story to me, and I tend to agree with him on this, I was able to get immersed into the theme once I started liking the game, and I had another video. The Scythe review I did was my ultimate slow burn game. It took me a lot of plays to actually start liking it because I wasn't a huge fan. But getting past all that, I was beginning to enjoy the game for what it was. The mechanics, the theme was starting to come out more for me, but I agree. The story wasn't heavily fleshed out, in my opinion. With Rise of Fenris, introducing that thematic tie of the story and the fact that and we can't go into heavy spoilers or anything, but
the biggest thing with me, the story tied in well to the artwork.
Yes,
and that's what really helped me with it.
Absolutely. Now that was the point I think I was even going to make. It comes down to this: the artwork really started opening up because of the story, but. The thing is that it has to do with the Great War, what caused it, and it has to do with Nikola Tesla and some other things going on, which again we can't go into. But if you want to know a little bit more about that, we'll go into that with our spoiler review. But when it comes down to it, that was what really tied me in. When we sat down, it's an 8-game campaign. It's pretty much as many players as you want.
Spoilers.
Shut up, boy. You can throw in airships if you want, things like that. It's very completely compatible with airships, invaders from afar, any of the expansions that are out. But once you sit down with this, the first game was typical fare in general.
Typical Scythe game.
Yeah. Once you get to the second one, it opens up a few extra cool little tidbits to it. I think for about when I hit game 3, I was all completely in.
Hooked. I was hooked.
Oh
Game
man,
3 and
3 and 4 were amazing.
And let's just say I started researching the snot out of each one of the factions, and I started trying to figure out which one's going to be the better one.
And you had an amazingly good game at one point.
Oh,
you trashed Riley. Parrish and you won each won a game.
He only won that because Riley came after me.
That's right. But so the game overall, the story hooks you, keeps you going. It was actually a very well written story, but it's not like earth shattering, But it does. But for this game, it does what it needs to draw people like him in, for example, who really needed that thematic hook.
Needed that to really like this game.
This also has a fully cooperative mode included in the campaign, so if you want to do that, there is a way to do that. Not in the campaign, I'm sorry, but just a fully cooperative module ability to do that, and it's all explained in there. But kudos to Jamie Stegmaier and Ryan Lopez de Venispre. Forgive me if I butchered that name. Awesome job on bringing this game to life through the story alone. Now, the cool thing is, this is a modular design, so what you're going to be doing is you can play the campaign if you want to, or you do not have to. You can open up the boxes as you see fit and add in the modules as you see fit.
I would suggest playing the campaign.
Yeah.
Don't just add the modules. Play the campaign.
Because it's an experience.
It's fun. Even 8 games, it's fun, and it's an awesome experience.
Absolutely. And so, and like I said, when it comes to all the positives, pretty much everything we've opened up in there was just increasingly more fun to open up. You know what I mean? Because they figured out how to tie in those modules so well to the story. And that's the thing that really kept me hooked into it. Besides the fact that I was already enjoying the base game to begin with, this just opened it up even more. Overall, if you're playing the campaign, understand. And again, I know how hard this is. Well, I don't know how hard it is. I can just imagine how hard it is to be able to have a resettable game. That has got to be a monumental task to have a story that works so well and it stays modular. But one thing I will say is there is a possibility, and I can't say why yet. We'll get into spoilers, but there is a possibility of a possible runaway leader situation in this game. And it can get frustrating. You'll still enjoy it. Overall, the game, we had a great time with it.
Oh, definitely, no matter what.
Yeah, I have no qualms about that. But it is a possibility. We had one person in our group who, again, won so many games that they were able to do a lot more in the game, whereas some of us were a little bit left behind. And that's just due partly to a little bit of luck on their part, but also partly because of their skill. There is a saving grace in the game that the designers, I'm sure they muddled over this on how to make sure something like that didn't happen so that the ultimate experience would be enjoyable for all. And they figured something out to help keep the runaway leader from being a massive problem. Because if they didn't have the workaround that they had in the game at one point, I would have been frustrated that, wow, there's no way to catch up. But there is a kind of a catch up mechanic in a sense, But again, that's for spoiler video. So anyway, overall, if I was going to give it, because I can't talk about much more than this. I know you want to. He's chomping at the bit.
We look to him to see what I can.
I know. He's like, huh? Can I say this? Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get ready to do the spoiler review. If you want to go check that video out. Final thoughts. What would you say on a rating scale of 1 to 10? Go ahead.
I'm gonna put it up there at 9.5 for me.
That's high.
Yeah, it's high.
That's
for me.
high,
You know how critical I am, but I mean, just every aspect of the game with Rise of Fenris added to it just makes it that much more enjoyable for me. And that's what does it for me. As obsessed as I am with this game now, I mean, I want a Scythe t-shirt here, a Scythe hat. I want something.
I'm sure they were out there. I've
seen them, but I mean, I want something, I want a little Scythe to go on the back of my car.
I'm telling you, man. I can see that. I understand that completely. I mean, darn it, I just downloaded the Scythe Digital Edition for Steam because I got this, and I was like, oh, I'm loving this game right now.
I'm kind of holding out until they finally decide to release everything together.
Okay, look, Jamie, I don't know if you're watching as you watched our top 10 of 2018. Please put a rush on the Rise of Fenris, or the Scythe digital edition for the phone, or the iPad or whatever. Where I'm sitting on it, I'm pretty much right where he is. So it's been holding steady at about a 9.5 as well. That's how much this expansion really boosted even the base gameplay, just the game as a whole, into the stratosphere for me. And again, I'm going to say this in the spoiler review too. So yeah, amazing game. If you're a Scythe player, if you have any modicum of enjoyment of Scythe, this is an expansion I think you must have personally. And I don't say that about a lot of different expansions. This is hey, stop. Hold on, we're almost done. This is an expansion that you must get. Yeah, so let's get over to the spoiler review. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to us, and I'm about to punch him. Stop! Anyway, come on. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Kas.
You have a blessed day. Game away.
Okay, game away. We'll get to it.